goal. But how exactly do we obtain success? Now we will have a presentation on the golden keys to success. Please welcome Mr. Bressler.
Okay, I've learned a lot today. So when my 11-year-old son asked me to have to talk, I have a Tumblr account. I'm really excited because I thought I was the only man alive who didn't have a smartphone, but you told me your dad did, so that is really good. All right, I want to talk to you really about two things that they have found in research are the keys to success. And I'll start out with these three good things. Now, I don't know, you kids here probably don't have fights with your parents like my children have with me, but has anyone ever had an argument with their parents here? All right. Now, when you're having these arguments, I think typically what happens is when you're mad at your parent, every darn bad thing they ever did goes through your head. All right? Well, that happens with adults too. And what I realized is we hold on to the bad and we forget the good rather easy. So I was reading and I started to do these three good things every day. And they're not great things, they're just things that happen every day that make me happy. And I had done it for about 6 months when my wife, who was picking on me, and she thought I did something wrong, which of course I didn't. And typically I would think of all the things in the last 28 years that she did that got me mad. And all of a sudden I realized, like, she did that thing and I said, I was a jerk yesterday, and she said nothing. And by the way, I was a jerk and she cooked me my favorite dinner. And all of a sudden I wasn't mad at her anymore. And I realized the power of the three good things, that it changed my attitude into a lot more positive thing. And instead of having a fight with my wife about something that was probably ridiculous anyhow, I just said, yeah, you're right, hon, and we moved on. And I think, like, it's one of the simplest things to do, but one of the most powerful, okay? And I can't probably figure out how to use this thing.
It's the right one.
Oh, I gotta turn it that way. All right, I'm gonna skip Will Smith and hopefully come back to it. All right, how you become, so grit is something that Angela Duckworth, who's a leading psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania, has made very popular. I mean, to put it easiest, grit is the ability to stay on track for something that you're passionate about. And I think we'd all agree if we could focus and not quit and not give up, that would make us better. But how do you become more gritty? I think the first thing is you think about that what you're doing now is what you'd rather do than anything else. And I'll give you an example in my life. About 2 years ago, in my opinion, Baltimore County was making the most ridiculous rules. And every time when someone would tell me, well, the superintendent said this, I put a slash on my board and would say, in my mind, if I went to Gilman, I would have to do this crap. And before I realized I had 600 of those slashes. And then I realized, if I continue to do this, I'm going to be at Gilman next year. And I don't want to be there. So I changed my thinking now when... I got to be careful because this is getting taped. When we come up with something ridiculous, that instead of thinking, oh man, I'd rather be at Gilman, I think, I could be in New York City with inspiring great teachers for no reason. Like, there's so many worse places. And all of a sudden, it makes me a lot more at ease here and want me to stay the course. Okay? The second thing is, what I say, choose easy and work hard. Miss Lattimore's still here, so I can't criticize math. Well, look, no one expects, if you hate math, for you to want to be an engineer. And that's ridiculous. So what I would say is, find something you love, and then work hard at it. Okay? Try something you love and work hard at it. And get yourself to get better each and every day with it. The third thing to get more gritty is do one hard thing. Okay? So what I try to do is like do one hard thing and not quit. And what I mean is not quit out of frustration. So say the hard thing is for you to, you're mastering baseball and you're a young kid and you strike out with the bases loaded and you go home and you cry, I'm never going to play again, Dad. No. You are going to play. And you're going to practice and you're going to better hitter. Now, at the end of the year, you might say, I don't like baseball anymore. And that's okay. You don't have to pursue it. But I think too often we quit out of frustration. And that's one of the things when you're gritty and you try hard things, that you realize that you learn from your mistakes and you don't quit out of the frustration. All right, Anders Ericsson's another psychologist, and he's come up with, he studies people who are great. And what he's found out is you cannot be great unless you put in 10,000 hours of practice. Well, when I heard that, I emailed Anders, and I tend to email these people, and amazingly they email you back. And I said, I have golfed for 10,000 hours, and I suck. And he emailed me back like 50 questions. And like, do you do this when you practice? And now I realize why I suck. But he comes up with this thing he calls deliberate practice. And basically it is finding a specific skill and honing in on something that you're not good at. So it can be like, if you're a basketball player, you're shooting like 20-foot jump shots because you're not great at that. And not only do you have to have the skill, you have to have a coach who gives you feedback. And he talks about how feedback is the key to success. And the more I've heard him talk about it, I understand why kids hate school and love video games. Because video games, you got feedback right away. You're dead. That guy killed me. I lost. In school, you can go days without us giving you feedback. And it's really one of the things that I think that if we as teachers can master how to give you feedback quicker and faster and more appropriate, that you would start liking school more. Because, you know, they talk about, well, school isn't the real, like video games, like, you're killing people. Unless you're going to be an assassin, that isn't real world application either. Okay? All right, so the one thing that Dr. Duckworth says is achievement is talent times effort. Okay? That you can be talented, but if you don't put effort, and we know those people in school who are really, really smart and they don't put in effort, they don't do that well. Or you can not have that much talent, as my guidance counselor pointed out to my mother in 7th grade, and you can have a lot of effort and still achieve. So that's the formula. I want to talk a little about self-control, and the social media person really sparked my interest. But there's a couple of things, and one of the things they found is this kind of different to-do list. And one of the things that you see up here is just list your goal of what you want to do. And then the specific time and place you're going to do it. And then the third thing is put down all the obstacles. My cell phone, my Facebook, my friends, all the things that are going to prevent you from studying. And then, when that happens, when my cell phone rings, what am I going to do? The if-then. And that, they have found, has really got people to achieve more. They did it in one of these schools in the inner city, and they found out GPA went up, conduct improved, attendance went up. So I think if you do that, if you could do that, that will help you. Because how many people here procrastinate? Hands up. All right. Here we go. I'm going to go back there for a second. That helps you not procrastinate. Okay, so if you can get more things done, it's more time on social media. All right. Here it is. About 5 years ago, I had this student, Megan, who failed the first 6 psych tests that I gave. And finally, I sat down and I said, Megan, when you read the book, what do you do? She says, I talk with Brian. I said, oh, your boyfriend? She goes, yeah, we talk. I read an hour a day. Me and him, I'm talking on the phone. So I said, do me a favor. Just shut your phone off. Okay? And she said, okay, when I go home, I'll shut my phone off. And then she started to do better, and I truthfully forgot the advice I gave her. And I said, Megan, why are you improving? She said, I shut my phone off. And I said, you do realize you could turn it on? And she goes, but if you turn it on, Mr. Bressler, it takes 15 seconds. It's forever. No, I'm never turning it on once it's off. But it just showed. Now, they also did research, and they found out college students who live on the top bunk do better than kids who do on the bottom. Because when you're on the bottom, it's easy to lie down while you're reading. And what do you do when you lie down and you're reading one of our exciting textbooks? You fall asleep. So you got to try, like the kids are too lazy to walk up the bunk. So, all right? So controlling your environment is a key. Now, along with this research, they did a little research. They put cookies like this on secretary's desk and the same cookies in a closed jar. Secretaries ate those cookies like 4 times to 1. Why? Because you could see them. So one of the things is, with all those electronics, you got to get them out of sight. Like, leave them in your parents' room or something. But you got to get them away from you. I think this is the most important thing I could say today, and it's often misleading. When you miss your goal, how many people beat themselves up when they miss their goal? Okay. The shirt's a little loose, but if it wasn't, you'd realize I have a weight problem. Alright, so, when I'm dieting, and all of a sudden, I eat a couple of cookies, I get mad, and I get stressed, and I blame myself. So what do? I eat more cookies. But that's what you do. If you procrastinate and you beat yourself up for procrastination, you're going to procrastinate more. Because it's a weakness. So, what do I say you do? I think you should say, I was at this TED Talk and every darn person raised their hand and they procrastinated. I'm a human. I didn't get it done. Now I'm going to go back to my if-then list. I'm going to redo it, and I'm going to try to do it better next time. Because we are all humans, and we're not perfect. So that would be my one thing. The second thing is, when you hit the goal, what happens? So I go 3 perfect days without, breaking my diet. It's like, oh, wow, Phil, you did a great job. Let's have some cookies. We just did that. I'm working in a study hall with some kids. They did a great job. I said, here's your 2 candies. What did they do? They stopped studying. The idea is, remember the goal. Yes, I took 3 days of perfect dieting, but the goal is to lose 12 pounds. I got more to go. So keep going, and that's the same thing with your homework or anything. I did that homework. I've done a good job, but the goal is that, and you got to keep working to it. All right, this mindfulness, and then I'll show you the Will Smith thing. It's amazing research that says if you meditate, you actually grow your brain. Now, it's amazing to me that we have mandatory weight training and things, which is great for our body, but we don't do things that really, really grow our brain. So just meditation, 5 minutes a day, and all I'm saying is you just close your eyes and you think, just listen to yourself breathe. Nothing fancy. So what did they do? They did this research, and they took drug addicts, like heroin addicts, kind of one of the hardest self-control practices, and they had them meditate for 5 minutes a day. Now, 2 things happened. One, they meditated for 5 minutes a day. They slept an hour longer than the group that didn't meditate. Now, sleep's important for self-control too, because when you're tired, you give in. The second thing is, they had a 50% less chance of going back and being an addict just from meditation, because it strengthens your self-control part of the frontal cortex. So, if you really, really want to get control of your life, it's 5 minutes of meditating a day. Okay? Now, are you going to be bad at it? Absolutely. I can remember the first time I tried to do it. I thought it was 5 minutes. Oh, God darn, it's 2 minutes. And then, things are racing in your... I'm trying to... Yeah, and all these things are racing into your mind. Yeah, that's going to happen. And you just keep building and building, and you get better at it. Okay? Who's timing me? I got 43 seconds?
No. But you can show Will Smith, because Will Smith is amazing.
Okay, I will show Will Smith. I will end on Will Smith.
Yeah, play on this.
I got to hit this, right?
Yeah, there's a little arrow on the bottom left.
You're going to come up and do that then. All right?
else. The only thing that I see that is distinctly different about me is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. Right? I will run. You will not be outworked. I will not be outworked. Right? Period. You know, you might have more talent than me. You might be smarter than me. You might be sexier than me. You might be all of those things. You got it on me in 9 categories. But if we get on the treadmill together, right, there's 2 things. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. It's that simple.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want any of you to be dying on a treadmill. It is a great thing to know that no one can outwork it. You've been a great audience. Thanks. Have a great day.